Hi, everybody. Welcome to Between Generations Life in Two Voices. Today we have a special guest, Esther Garrido. Hi, Esther. Thank you for
Hi.
being here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You have a wealth of information this morning to give us about your journey in fitness and what you bring to the table. So we are anxious to get started. What inspired you to become a personal trainer?
Okay, so I actually had a trainer many years ago, and she motivated me to want to learn more. So I ended up researching and going online. Most people get online certifications to become trainers, but one of
Mhm.
my friends from grade school had actually gone to a personalized trade school for personal training. It was called MPTI, that's where I met my business partner because he was my teacher there. So a little bit about me. I own a personal training studio in Manassas, Virginia on Liberia Avenue, and we opened about a year ago. So my business partner, Dylan, was my teacher in school, and he's so passionate about fitness that I just absorbed it and I just kept running with it. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So I dove deep into it. And then my clients, just working with my clients, knowing what personal training has done for me, exercise has done for me mentally and physically has just been something so inspiring for me that I felt like I need to share this with other people. So that's what's landed me here in the short.
Been a year. I think
Yeah.
I totally expected it to be like 5 years, 6 years. A
So,
year,
well,
that's
I've been
like a kind of a short amount of time, but I guess, in my head, I'm thinking with the business, you've got to work out a lot of kinks.
Yes. Well, so I've actually been personally training for over a decade. I've been in this world training clients for over a decade, but having my own space
Yeah.
it's just been a year. We just completed a year of having our own studio, where I'm in there and we're setting the rules, we're setting the tone, and we're setting the education.
That's amazing. By the way, I love your logo. It's so
Oh, thank
unique.
you.
I can't get over it. It's
Thank you.
just great.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
little bear.
It's so cute.
Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
that's
let's
just the short of
say
it. Mhm.
awesome. But you had let's just go back a little bit. Your career prior to this was in interior design, was it not?
Yes. Yeah. I actually went to school and got my degree in interior designs, and I worked in that for a little while and I really, really enjoyed it. So I still have that. And it bubbles up from time to time where I still get to use those skills. But there's just something that felt so much more purposeful for me when it came to health. And again, I had my own health issues that I was suffering with. My parents suffered with migraines, like horrible migraines when I was younger. And I remember I used to see them go to bed early and they needed the room completely pitch black. And then I started to get those migraines and I was like, oh man, I'm doomed. Like, this is my life. Like, I've inherited this from my parents. And so now I have this for the rest of my life. And it was miserable. And I found myself missing out on activities with friends or even at school. And it was a lot. And then as I became an adult and, kind of got older and started learning a little bit here and there about food and exercise and becoming more intrigued by it and diving into it, I started to realize, well, maybe there's something that I can do on my part. So I started exercising more. I was always into sports when I was in school, but it wasn't with girls' sports. They don't really teach you to exercise the way that they do
Yeah.
with the boys' sports, right? Boys, they have you do weight training. The girls, they didn't really focus on that when I was in school. So anything extra outside of there, I needed to figure it out on my own. And then I started to realize that I had certain food allergies. So certain things would trigger those migraines. And I started realizing that I needed to drink more water and move more and get outside more. And then I stopped suffering from these migraines.
Wow.
So that's what kind of pushed me into getting a personal trainer. And she was phenomenal. I loved her. Working with her was life changing. And then I said, there's just something. so rewarding about this feeling. So I was like, maybe I should do this. This should be my purpose. Like, how do I do this for myself and share it with other people? And so, that's where the adventure started with going back to school for this.
Wow. So wait, I
Wow.
don't think we have
They-
this question in our list, but did you ever compete? Were you ever interested in bodybuilding? I
Yeah.
don't think we
Um,
were asking that, but I'm just curious right now if
yeah. So I've actually competed in powerlifting, which
okay.
is, with the three big lifts, which is squat, bench, and deadlift.
Wow.
Which when I got started with this journey, I never thought that I was going to end up in that, but it's such a great community to be a part of. You are competing in a weight class, but you're competing with yourself. And it's really fun to see how far from where I started, because before I started weight training, I weighed maybe 105 pounds. And now I'm at 130 pounds, and that's with muscle mass on me. And I've never felt better. I've never moved better. And so it just like, diving into the sports. And now I've actually even been able to take some of my clients to their own powerlifting meets and handle them.
Oh, that's fire.
Um, yeah, so it's really cool. There's a bodybuilding I have a great amount of respect for, but it's not something I've ever dabbled with competing in. Powerlifting was definitely more my speed because it's strength based and it's
Mhm.
how much weight can you move and really pushing
Yeah.
yourself mentally and saying, on the hard days, like, oh, let's go, let's do this, let's de-stress. And I didn't get it this time, but it doesn't mean that I can't get it next time. And then just it's always constantly giving you the gift of figuring out how to unlock that next level of yourself.
Wow, powerlifting. Shoot. That's the one
Mhm. Yeah.
where you're pushing up some weight.
So that's actually Olympic lifting. So powerlifting
Okay.
is
See, I don't know.
squat, bench, and deadlift. Yeah. No, Olympic lifting is amazing too. That is a strength sport as well. Moving weight overhead, and it's an extreme sport that I also have never tapped into. So powerlifting is where you compete in squat, bench, and deadlift, and seeing how heavy you can move your squat, your bench, and your deadlift for a singular rep.
We might have to
Mhm.
come back on for a third episode so we can talk
Yeah.
about
yeah,
that.
exactly.
It's
Like
really
That's
there's
awesome.
so
cool. It's really
much.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very nice.
it's really it is. It's inspiring.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
question number 2.
Mhm.
What's your favorite success story with a client?
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah. So I've been asked that question a lot over the years that I've been doing this, and it's hard to pick just one. Because the clients who really drive into making the changes are always the most successful ones. I've had young athletes get picked up by minor league NHL teams, cancer
Wow.
patients recover, parents become absolutely dialed in, living their best lives, enjoying their kids and enjoying their lives. Elderly clients stay strong enough to live successfully on their own. Men and women learn to fall in love with strength training and then go on to compete in their own powerlifting meets with me coaching them. So everyone's story is unique and successful in its own right. But the one that pulls my heart the most is a client of mine that I had when I first started doing this years ago. We called him Boogie Bruce. And he he was well into his 80s. He was almost 90 when he trained with me, and he would come in every week and we would strength train every single week. And I think one of the scary things that I come across a lot with clients as they start to age is of growing old alone and, potentially having to go into a home. And so Boogie Bruce was 88 and he was determined to live life on his own terms. Yeah, and he was a really special guy. He lived a really big life, and I got the privilege of hearing his story and, getting to know him. And I was able to help him stay healthy and strong to the point that he didn't have to go into a home. And
Oh,
that was a really, really big deal for him. And
It's
then
so
because
amazing.
I watched my grandfather have to go into a home when he got older, and that just broke my heart having to watch that. And so the fact that Bruce got to avoid that was just such a great thing. And knowing as a trainer that we have the ability to help people learn how to live a better quality of life, that for me is just priceless. So I think
So
that
cool.
is probably one of my bigger success stories, but I've had so many of them doing this for 10 years. And like I said, each one of my clients has success in their own way.
So
Wow.
I have a question that's not on my list.
Sure.
Do you have more men than women?
So
Great
funny
question.
enough, yeah, oftentimes, in my experience and from, asking questions to other female trainers out there, most of the time we tend to have more female clients than we do male. It's fluctuated on my schedule over the years. There was a point in time where I had more male clients than I had female clients. But I typically always tend to get a lot more female clients than I do male. And then, so right now, currently, I would say I have more female clients in person, but I have more male clients online.
Wow.
So it fluctuates. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think in my head immediately, men probably are more apt to go to the gym because they want to look a certain way and they want those muscles. So
Yeah.
they
Sure.
might not outsource. And maybe it's just like the age that we're in, but everything is on YouTube. You could literally look up
Yes.
anything on YouTube. Not that you're doing it correctly, but you could
Yeah.
literally could.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's absolutely powerful tool, and it is great that there's just so much more available out there to help people move through. But really dialing in and having that extra touch of a professional that can help you move through, because notoriously what happened. So my online clients are clients that are usually motivated to get themselves to work out at the gym, or I'm teaching them how to get to that position. But then they plateau because everybody gets to a number or a weight where they get scared to keep pushing. So it's about, giving them that knowledge to help them understand how to keep pushing and how to do it responsibly, without, injury, guiding them. So, and it doesn't, my strongest athletes have plateaus, where they say, well, I haven't moved off this weight because I'm not comfortable. So it's helping them overcome those objections and those fears, which YouTube is not going to help you do.
Right.
So, having a coach, or if you say like, oh, well, I avoid deadlifting or I avoid squatting because every time I do, I hurt myself, then that's probably when you need to hire a professional that can put a professional eye and help you and build the knowledge and teach you how to do it safely and effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's beautiful that there is all of that information available out there. And then some people just don't realize that they need somebody to help them. Some people are
Mhm.
just like, well, I mean, this guy's doing it, so I can do it too. And great. Yeah, absolutely. Go and do that. But there's usually going to be a point where if you're really serious and you really want to see changes and you're not seeing changes on your own, then that's when I would say, why don't you hire somebody? Hire somebody and know what it is that you want. Ask questions, know how to advocate for yourself. Don't just trust that you're hiring this coach and they are going to get the job done. Because as much as I would like to tell you that, I know there's a slew of amazing coaches out there, but there's also a slew of coaches that are reckless and they don't know what they're doing and they won't guide you appropriately. And as somebody who is learning the fitness world, you don't know how to ask questions and how to advocate for
Yeah.
yourself. But one of my favorite things to do is tell my clients, ask me questions. If I'm telling you to do something and you don't understand it, ask me. That
Mhm.
lets me know that you're invested. But that's
Yeah.
also part of my process with my clients is educating them. When you become more educated on a topic, you you excel in it much better, right? And
Very
so that's
true.
part of what I like to do as a coach.
That was a great
Well,
question.
she's
Thank you for that answer. I
Oh, yeah, of
I
course.
honestly, I really feel like that's a really important point is that you can go down the rabbit hole with things, but when you want to refine it you know, and you want to really learn about it and understand it, like you do have to go to the experts.
Yeah. Even I have a coach, and I've had other coaches tell me, they're like, Esther, why do you have a coach if you're a coach? I'm like, well, Michael Jordan was at the top of his
Right.
game as a basketball player and he had a coach.
Exactly.
You
That's the
know,
Yeah.
I
point.
was like, all of these top athletes, anybody who is really good at what they do has somebody else that's guiding them and mentoring them as well. Because I don't, I believe a good teacher never stops learning. So
Amen.
it is our duty to constantly push the knowledge that we have and constantly push to get to that next level and understand more and more and more. So
Yeah.
for me to say here, just because I've had 10 years in the field and pretend like I know everything, I mean, I'm holding myself back by saying or thinking like, and I'm, you know, and it's a little bit of arrogance and not in a good way to think,
True.
oh, well, I've learned everything I need to learn. No, because information is constantly evolving. It's constantly, there's constantly new studies being done. So you have to always push yourself. That's why with a lot of times trainers will tell you they have to do continued education because
Hmm.
the education and the information is constantly updating. It's like our cell phones, right? How many times do we see an update
Right.
on our phones? It's the same way with the
So
information
true.
that we're getting out there. Yeah, because more research is being done, more studies are being done, more money is being thrown at these researches. And so we're able to dive deeper and explore things in a different capacity.
Coaches need coaches, like you had
Yes.
mentioned,
Mm.
but psychologists need psychologists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We all,
I have my
Yeah.
own therapist.
Yeah.
yes, and you're what
Mhm.
crisis intervention, Natalie. We all need to bounce our ideas and things off of other professionals to make sure that we're still in line. But I
Mhm.
do want to mention one thing
Mm.
since I was a student of Esther's. I was a client for a short time, and we discussed that I was coming back. But I know firsthand how passionate she is per client. And I
Oh,
did want to mention that because it is true. She will give all of her energy to you when you are there. And so I
thank
appreciate
you.
that. I
No,
appreciate, and you
thank
see it,
you.
and you see it.
Thank you. I try.
So
I try. Thank you.
yes, absolutely. All right, question number 4. No, question number
Wait.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, question number
We're like, it's too
3.
early in the
Well,
morning.
because we've deviated.
It's really.
Let's see. Do you use any apps or technology to track progress?
Yes. So I use Google Sheets. It's how my coach taught me. And there's a million different apps and a million different avenues that you can take for coaching your clients. And I'm aware I've experimented with some of the apps and they're great. But I find that I like the simplicity and the accuracy of Google Sheets. Because there I can set my clients' programming, I can set their rep ranges, I can set the intensity, and they can, communicate with me about the exercise right there, and I can follow along with them. They just follow. It's very simple, and it allows them to track to see their progression, but it also allows me to see, are you progressing or are you stalling yourself?
Yeah.
And really that's what I need to be able to see as a coach. I need to see your tracking. I need to see your progression. And as a client, you need to be able to see too. So when I sit down and I say, hey, I notice that we have been stalled out right here for the last 4 weeks. Let's talk about that. And then and then I educate you about how we can get progression to move
Mm.
you forward. So it is simple, but it is straightforward. It's not fancy. If my clients say, hey, like, I'm not really sure how to do this exercise that you've got listed for me, I'm happy to send a demo video, be it of myself doing it, or if I have another video in my arsenal, so that they are not left alone and like trying to figure it out. And then they also send me so my online clients will send me videos of them doing the exercises so I can
Mm.
give them live quality feedback. So a lot of times people think online coaching, oh, does that mean I have to turn on my phone and you have to watch my workout? No. What I'm doing is teaching you and giving you the understanding of how to work out on your own but still keeping eyes on you so that I can help you understand where you need to make some changes. And then by my clients looking at their videos and listening to my feedback, they're learning how to apply that and learning how to exercise better themselves. So it's
Mm.
not keeping them handicapped. Most trainers want to handicap you. Most trainers are having you do these outlandish Instagram workouts because it's cool to record and say, like, look what I can make my client do. But are you really teaching your client? Do they
Mhm.
really understand the importance of why they're doing this? And when
Yeah.
they eventually, your clients will have to leave you at one point or another.
Right.
All of that time and money that you've invested, I want you to be able to walk away and say, but Esther taught me well enough that I know how to do this on my own.
Mhm.
Like,
Exactly.
and have that confidence to walk into any gym and say, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to do. And not feel intimidated, not feel, that lack of confidence of like, well, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. I should just get out. It's
Yeah.
about giving you that. So that was one thing that my trainer that I hired all these years ago when I first started, um, she was phenomenal and she kicked my butt every single session. But when I was done with her, I had no idea how to work out on my own. But I knew that I loved what exercise did for me and how it made me feel. So that's what pushed me to continue to check out and find out more information.
Wow.
Oh, that's enlightening.
Yeah.
And I have a follow-up to that, Esther, because I've been in the gym for a very long time, and I've never really solidly stayed with a trainer. It's more
Mm.
self-taught, I'll be honest. But I prefer free weights over machines. And
Yes.
so for someone that you are teaching, especially, um, we'll call it telefitness, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, what do you recommend for them in the beginning? Like, how do you filter that out? Because you do have to have proper form when you're doing free weights versus machines that are
Right.
more isolated. So how do you work around that?
So, first of all, I like the combination of both. I'm a huge fanatic of understanding how to use your body, but I'm also an advocate of using machines appropriately where you need to for accessory wear, right? Because they are useful.
Mhm.
But when my clients, and I mean, Marve can attest to this, when she first came in with me, I did an assessment with her, and I do this with my online clients and my in-person clients. We are going through your movements. I am trying to see where your understanding is of a squat, where your understanding is of a hip hinge, how you're
Yes.
doing with a push or a press, where your endurance is with your like core stability. All of these things I'm analyzing and I'm showing you how to do it. I'm going over how to breathe and brace your core, right? And applying it into every single session that we have as we move forward. And um so, teaching that base. So my online clients, I usually do an onboarding session in person where I
Okay.
can just dump all of that knowledge into them. And then we go strictly online. They always have the option to come and work with me in person if they need to, if they feel like they're not having an easy time, like figuring out how to move forward. But then I do have some clients like that are far away. So I don't have that. But that's why you send me videos and I guide them through, okay, this is what I want the video to look like when you send it to me. And this is what I'm looking for. So I'm teaching my clients like, oh, you said that your back hurt when you did squats. Let me tell you why. And I'm teaching them how to find that in the video. And then they're understanding the difference and how to apply it. And so then they'll be like, oh, yeah, these reps felt really good. Oh, this rep didn't feel good. And then they go back and they look at the video and they're like, oh, but Esther said it's because this, that, and the third. So teaching them all of that information. But yeah, so that's how I have eyes on my online clients, is getting them to send me videos, but and then me giving them back live feedback, but it also holds them accountable. It says
Wow.
like, oh, they're like, dang it, I know Esther's waiting for my videos and I have to send her my videos. So I have to go do this workout. So it's another way to keep people accountable.
Yeah. And this is, and
Yeah.
maybe this has been going on for a while, but telefitness is something that I didn't even think about. I did not even think
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
could be working with you here in California and you're in
Yeah.
Virginia. I never,
Yeah.
and I think more it was because, of course we have to always weigh out both sides, right? There's always a negative and a positive. for me in my brain, I'm thinking I want my fitness trainer to be there with me doing these
Sure.
movements because it's easy to get hurt. It's
Mhm.
easy to make mistakes. But I
Mhm.
think to your point though, you're right. If you know the body, if you know the physicality, if you know how joints are supposed to move and you're able to articulate that, it sounds like most of the time these clients have a high success rate, but it
Yeah.
can be dangerous. I just have to put that
Yeah.
out there. Like it just depends on who the trainer is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's again, that's why the building the knowledge. So we named our studio Training Ed because we want to do the training education.
Yeah, yeah,
So people are like, "Oh, what do I need education for exercise?" Really, you do though. You need education. The same way you need
absolutely.
education to drive a car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Absolutely.
have to know what you're doing. That's a big piece of equipment that we drive every single day that could hurt yourself or somebody else instantly. So you need to know how to operate that appropriately, right? So it's the same thing with your body, understanding how to work it appropriately. And it's like, interesting over the years with the clients that I've had come in, you think, oh, like squats are easy. And then when you start to break down the understanding of how to do it appropriately when we're loading weight onto it,
Mm,
even with just your body weight, people have such a hard time with it. They're like, I had no idea this was so complicated. I go, it's complicated because it's new, but it's not
right.
always going to feel this complicated. And then watching my clients blossom with their understanding of their body, they have so much more body awareness. That for me is always like top tier. Seeing
Yeah.
people understand their actual body awareness. And
Yeah.
there was one point in time on my schedule at a studio that I used to work at where I had 4 guys on my schedule that were over 6 feet tall.
Ooh,
And the owner of the studio purposely put them on my schedule because I had a really great knack for teaching body movement and
mhm,
body awareness. And because usually for taller people, squatting and deadlifting and benching, it's a bigger range of motion for them
mhm,
because their limbs
yeah.
are longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but then teaching them how to actually do it appropriately is it was just something that I have such a good time with. And so he just was like, listen, I got another tall person. I'm putting them on your schedule. And it was like a running joke where all of a sudden I had all of these really tall guys. And I'm sure I'm 5'1". So
Oh
like I
my
had
gosh.
tall guys, yeah, all of my schedule. And I'm teaching them how to squat and I'm teaching them how to bench and how to deadlift and do all of these movements. And they're like, wow, I didn't know it could feel this way. I'm like, yeah,
Wha-
it doesn't have to hurt.
I,
So
I received your
Yeah.
pictures the other day and I totally thought you were taller. So
yeah,
we're
Yeah.
just,
it's so Dylan, my business partner, it was so funny. One day we went to go take a picture next to each other and he's like 6'1", I think. And he looks at me and he goes, have you always been this short? I'm like, it's my confidence that makes me taller. So yeah,
oh my gosh,
She does look taller.
you
a
do
lot of times I was like,
for
it's
sure.
my confidence that makes me look taller.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
hilarious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we kind of touched on this question a little bit, but it's interesting though, before I ask you, that somebody in Alaska can
Mhm.
send you a video and you can pair with them.
Yes.
That's to me that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, being able to do online coaching has become extremely popular, especially since COVID. And learning how to hone that
Yeah.
craft for people has been something that we have been diving into. And specifically like, that Dylan mastered that before COVID happened. And so he's been passing the knowledge on to me as well. And that's how I was doing my coaching with him. It was online. It's not like I was meeting with him in person to do my training. It was online that we were doing the training.
Now, what's the farthest
Awesome stuff.
a client is at right now? Like, what's the farthest area that you?
Jordan.
Whoa,
Yeah.
I would have
Jordan.
never
Yeah.
guessed that.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
That's
secretly,
my
I'd be
my
like,
friend's
"Can you show me some sites? Can you show if you've never been
yeah,
there?"
well, unfortunately, because of the circumstance, there's not a whole lot that she's allowed to record, but yeah. That's my friend, and That's I do work with, some like federal agent kind of clientele. And so it's a
Okay.
little bit, it's a little bit more tricky with how we have to develop their training, but it's not
Right.
impossible. And it's definitely something that is completely doable. And I know Dylan's in the same boat. I have another client that we're in the stages of signing on right now, and he's in Germany. So, it's just learning how to there's always a solution. So
Wow.
figuring out how to be able to propel them appropriately. Hmm.
You're training the next
So
007.
cool.
That's so cool.
I actually had one of those one time. It was pretty
Really?
neat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
That
Oh
is
my God.
really
See,
cool.
I'd want to go down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole with that one.
No, I mean, this job is amazing. I get to work with so many people from so many different walks of life.
That is
Yes.
insane.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me get
You're a
back on
baddie.
track. So
That is
now
so cool.
it is. It is. She is. All right. So we are on question number 4
Okay.
right
Yes.
now.
Hmm.
Okay. Just want to get that
Quattro.
clarified. All right. So, how do you customize workouts for different body types or fitness levels?
Yes. No, this is a good one. I believe in teaching all of my clients a fundamental base. So I start them with body weight and progress them accordingly before we advance to weights. So whether it's kettlebells, dumbbells, or barbells, it's important that all of my clients understand how to use their body first. And so all of my clients will learn to squat and hip hinge and press and push in different variations, like I mentioned before. It all just depends on where they are. So every client comes in at a different stage and has different abilities that they're at, right? So
Yeah.
um I might have to teach a squat variation. So some of my clients, they can easily do a goblet squat or a goblet squat loaded with some weight, or maybe even a barbell squat, where some clients might have to start with some box squatting or some TRX squat. So it's my job to assess where they are and build the
Yeah.
program accordingly.
That's great. You know, and I have a follow-up to that. I'm not a fan of the kettlebell. I never
Mhm,
have been, but I'm
mhm.
curious in your perspective, why do you think it's used in fitness? There's just a lot that goes on with the kettlebell. There's a lot of joints being used. It can go very, very
Yes.
wrong. I've seen it go very,
Mhm,
very wrong in the gym.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I don't know, just to me, it just kind of it irks me, and I don't know why, but I have tried it because you know how when you sign up at like a gym, they give you like a free 45-minute fitness trainer
Yeah.
like partner up.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
he had me do the kettlebell. And I was like, I'm not feeling this. Like my
Yeah.
body is not connecting to this. And I think it's because I'm leveraging my weight with
Mhm,
the motion. And I didn't
mhm.
like it. I didn't feel like I was doing anything. So I'm
Yeah.
curious because I'm sure people want to know, like, why is that important?
So I actually am certified in kettlebell training.
Okay. And
So I'm
by
a
no mean
huge
am I
advocate.
judging or trying to
No,
be mean.
no.
It's just like
You're
my
you're
perspective.
like my favorite. You're like my favorite person to work with, because I also get clients that come at me that say the same thing about barbells. They're like, "Oh, what's the point of a barbell?" Or "I don't like barbells." And usually most of the time when we are like reluctant about something, it's because we haven't learned it well enough. We weren't taught it well. And so we just haven't given it that time and that love. Now, if you don't fall in love with it, that's totally fine too. I'm not saying that you have to, but kettlebells have their benefits in a training program because they do help stabilize you in a different way than the barbell does. A barbell will give you feedback in a way that a kettlebell doesn't. And as a person who has balanced between kettlebell training and barbell training, I learned barbell training before I learned kettlebell work. And then when I started to learn kettlebells, I saw how it bled over into my barbell training, and it was magical for me because the kettlebells taught me stability in a different way that the barbell didn't. And the barbell is going to allow you to load up heavier than what a kettlebell can, but a kettlebell is going to challenge you in another way. And a kettlebell is going to be much more telling in where you might have a crack in the foundation.
That's a good point.
So Yeah. So if you don't love the kettlebell, I'm going to assume it's because you haven't been taught it well enough.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
and again, I'm not saying that I'm going to make you a firm believer, but I've had clients like you where one of my really big, movements that I like to teach a lot of my clients, and Marve knows this, is the kettlebell swing.
I've
Kettlebell
done it.
swing is yeah. And if you haven't been taught it well, though, it can be a problem. And it's a great movement for building posterior chain, like your hamstrings, your glutes, your low back. It also is really helpful with building stability through the core. But
Mhm.
if you don't know how to do it well, it'll pass you. And so if you're not being taught like how to do it the right way, your back is probably going to hurt, or you're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
feel like the kettlebell's pulling you forward. And
Mhm.
it's because the movement has not been broken down and taught to you well. So it's again, I would encourage you to give it another chance. But
I'm
maybe with
actually
somebody,
literally considering this online thing. Like, I didn't even know that was a
yes,
possibility.
No,
So
Natalie, it would be
we
yes,
shall
awesome.
talk after
yeah,
this.
It
absolutely,
would be awesome.
absolutely. Yeah. And
And
it's
let me
just,
add this, that
yes,
when I was the kind of client that I would just pay Esther and I would say, you tell me what I need to do, and I wouldn't balk, right? I didn't balk at anything.
yeah,
She asked me to show me how to do the kettlebell. I guess you had asked me that. Well, I did
yes,
it all wrong,
yeah.
right? But
Mhm.
it took me a while. I think before I had to leave, I had gotten to the point where I was doing it correctly.
Yeah, you
And
were.
then I did feel better. So it was like,
Yes.
"Oh, yeah, let me swing it here. I know how to do it." And she's like, no, let's do this
Yeah.
again."
And that's another thing where I was talking about earlier is learn how to advocate for yourself. Don't just say, "Oh, well, she's a trainer, so she knows, so I'm just going to do it," if it doesn't make sense to you. Advocate for yourself and ask the question. And so I would like watch her do the swing. And this is not just particular to you, Morve. It's with all of my clients. I'm like,
Yeah,
if you feel some discomfort, let me know, because then that means that we need to cue something else. But usually the visual, me having eyes on you, I can see it. But sometimes I've had clients that they will feel like a back discomfort, but their form is together. And then it's been something as, hey, all right, let's focus on your breath work on this round. And that's usually the fixer. So, it's understanding how to do it the right way and understanding how to put all of the pieces together. So, if you don't like kettlebell swings, I don't blame you. But also, if you got a free consultation from a coach that just said, well, I've seen lots of people do this and it looks like fun, so I'm just going to have you do it without understanding how to do it, there's a problem there. And that's the
Yeah.
dangerous part. So, for me as a coach, it is my rule of thumb. If I don't do it, I will not teach it to you. I have no business teaching Olympic lifting if I don't know how to Olympic lift myself. I have seen coaches over the years teach or make their clients do something and not know how to do it, and have even pulled me and said, "Hey, Esther, can you show so and so how to do a deadlift, a sumo deadlift?" I'm like, if you don't know how to do it, why are you
exactly.
making your client do it? That is
Yeah.
reckless. So, and then this is how you end up with people that are like, "Oh, yeah, I had a trainer and I got hurt, and that's that. I'm not trying that again." And it
Yeah,
discourages them. When realistically, exercise is not something that should be optional. Exercise is something that everybody should be doing. The same way that you work to keep a roof over your head, you should be exercising to keep your body healthy.
I have a small follow-up question, and it might be an easy question to answer, but I didn't even think about this. Normally, when we're looking for professionals in the community, we're looking at their education, their experience, their
Mhm.
certifications, whatever they have.
sure.
So, for
Mhm.
someone who is new to fitness, what should we be looking for? Like, what are the standardized certifications, or education that someone should have before we even ask, okay, let's do a consultation?
So I will tell you, education is everything. You'll never hear me knock that. However, you have a lot of coaches that can go online and get certified to become a trainer because, oh, well, I love working out, so I'm going to make money doing it. But it doesn't mean that you should be a teacher.
Mhm.
You have the same thing with doctors. You have the same thing with lawyers. You have the same thing in
Yeah.
any field. Just because they have the education doesn't mean that they should be teaching it. So really it's about asking the questions and evaluating. Is my coach giving me the information that I need? Is my coach understanding where I am? Not just immediately, oh, okay, this is your first consultation. I want you to get underneath the barbell and I want you to squat. I've never touched a barbell before. It's okay. Go ahead and do it. So it's about understanding and saying, like, hey, I don't feel comfortable with this, and saying, okay, that's fine. Let's start here.
Mhm.
And seeing that your trainer is seeing you where you are and teaching you how to progress to get to the next level. So I would say, and also watch your trainer. What is your trainer doing? Is your
Mhm.
trainer taking care of themselves? Is your trainer applying the same stuff to themselves? It's again, I think more so based off of seeing how they work and seeing how they're working with other clients is a lot more telling than all the certifications, because you can collect certification after certification, but it still doesn't mean that you're qualified to do the job. So it's really about interviewing your trainer. Interview your
Okay.
trainer, ask them questions, advocate for yourself, and say, this is what I'm nervous about. I mean, the amount of times that I've had clients tell me, look, I'm really nervous about personal training, because a lot of people have this image of, I don't know if you guys remember that show that was really popular in the early 2000s, The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so a lot of people come to me and they're like, are you going to make me throw up? Or I don't want to train because you're probably going to make me vomit.
What
And
a
you're
good point.
probably gonna, yeah. And so they're terrified to come see me, and they're already not feeling great about themselves and the position that they're in. And so then to come and have somebody make them feel worse, it's a
Mhm.
scary thing. So that's why, at the studio and even for my online coaching, I don't do contracts. You pay month to month. If I don't do my job for you, you have every right to leave me. So, and so it's not about locking you in. It's about, helping you feel comfortable and helping you give you the information. Because if I'm sitting there and telling you, like, look, you're going to squat because I said so, versus if I said, okay, you've come to me and I've noticed we're having issues here. We're going to squat because this is going to help with this and it's
Mhm.
going to help with that. But why don't we take it and start here? Let's start with the body weight. And then they start getting comfortable with the body weight. And then one of the sessions they come in and I've put a weight in their hand. They're like, wait a minute, now you're making it harder. And I'm like, yes, but you can, because I've been watching you and you can. Making sure that your coach is not throwing you at the top of the mountain instead of teaching you how to climb to the top of the mountain is very important.
That's a great, great explanation. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and also, just a small follow-up now here for me,
Sure.
but when
Yeah.
you interview your coach,
Mhm.
it's like going into a regular interview. It's what's
Mhm.
if they're likable, if
Yeah.
you're going to hire them, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And I mean, it was easy for me because you feel the vibe. I
Yes.
can vibe with her, and I
Mhm.
could tell that she's really interested in me, not just trying to get my money, or for that matter
Mhm.
anybody else's money. It's, where are
Mhm.
you at? Where is your body at? And am I likable? Can we get along? So
Yes.
that's the other piece of it too, you know?
Yeah. That's again why we don't do contracts. We don't lock people
Yeah.
into contracts. You pay as you go. Um, because we believe so much in what we're doing. We don't have to lock you into a contract. There's so many coaches out there. They're like, all right, you need to pay me this much up front and lock you in. And so you have to stay with them. I've had other clients come to me that have switched on to me and it's taken them a year to get back to switching on to me because they paid for their coach a year in advance.
Mhm.
And they want to leave the coach, but they've already paid the coach and they're reaping no benefits from the coach. The coach isn't
Yeah.
checking in on them. The coach isn't progressing them. The coach isn't giving them an understanding or education about what the stall out is, what the problem is, why they're feeling pain. And so it's very discouraging. And so then you end up losing a lot of people to that you lose the battle of teaching, of having people understand just how important exercise is. I really don't think that exercise should be optional. I think no matter where you are, there's something that you can do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think that people should treat exercise as an option. I think that it should be something that everybody learns and appreciates.
Yeah. It's true.
Very
Okay.
practical.
We
Yeah.
are on.
Yes.
So, question number 5, ladies.
Yes.
How do you help clients set realistic goals?
Yes. All right. So it really depends on the individual. I like to start in stages. So helping educate our clients on daily habits and knocking down excuses that we hide behind is big. And so one of like my big things when I'm talking with my clients is, all right, well, let's talk a little bit about food. So then we dive into understanding where they are with nutrition and what are they doing right now? What are their habits right now? Are their habits helping them or are their habits holding them back and like hurting them? And then we go into talking about movement. How much are you moving on a day-to-day basis? So it's really, me doing my interview with my clients, understanding what their lifestyle looks like right now and how they've gotten to this point where they feel, sick and hurt and uncomfortable with themselves. So again, a thorough interview with all of my clients is super important, teaching them, again, going back to movement and then breaking it down into small pieces so it doesn't become overwhelming. Most of the time you hear people say you need 10,000 steps a day. You need it. 10,000. And then that's overwhelming. You're like, how the heck do you want me to do 10,000 steps in a day? All right, well, where are you at right now? How about we start nudging it just a little bit? Let's get you to
Yeah.
consistently hit, like if you're at consistently 3,000 steps a day, great. Let's go to 4,000 steps a day and be consistent with that. And then once you get to that, let's keep nudging you. So the minimum recommendation that I have with all of my clients is 6,000 steps a day. There's a lot of research that backs that a minimum of 6,000 steps a day cuts all-cause mortality by 40%. That's huge.
Whoa.
That's just from walking
Wow.
6,000 steps every single day. I have a client that just started working with me that I was telling Marve about earlier. And she was like, well, I hit 5,500 steps today. It was pretty close to that 6,000. And I was like, but you were off by 500. And I'm asking you for 6,000. And she's like, but that's close enough. And I said, if you miss 500 steps every single day, by the end of the week, you've missed 3,500 steps. I said, and the
Compounds.
research is showing, the research is showing a minimum of 6,000 steps a day is what's going to help you progress in the right direction. Why are you shortchanging yourself? Why are you saying it's close enough? Why?
Yeah.
This is your life. This is your health that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So then now she's coming back to me and telling me, oh, I hit 7,000 steps. I hit 8,000 steps. I hit 9,000 steps. And I said,
Good for
great.
her.
Good job at not playing average in your own
Right.
life.
Yes.
And she was like, I
That's
didn't think about it
crazy.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, helping people understand, you break it into pieces because it can feel overwhelming. Health is not cookie cutter. It's not, it's scary for a lot of people. You're like, oh, you want me to completely change my lifestyle? It's scary. What do you mean the way that I've been eating isn't healthy, but it's organic? And, the marketing, the understanding that's out there is very misleading. So, and again, breaking it into small pieces, interviewing my clients thoroughly and asking them, what do your daily habits look like? Let's make some changes and helping them understand. So like usually when people understand the why of what they are doing, it simplifies the dislike or even the anxiety around it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So really that's again, like, going back, how do I help clients set realistic goals? For me, it's about interviewing the client appropriately and teaching them, all right, so this is what we're doing now. What if we add this? Like, let's pick little things and add little things and then just keep going from there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, ladies.
You're inspiring me right
Question
now.
number 6. Yo,
I'm
she's
glad.
very
I'm like,
inspiring.
I need to stop making excuses. I will say
Yeah.
though that I walk at least 10,000 steps a day. Like that's my goal,
Excellent.
and
That's
I hit
good.
it every day,
That's good.
like without
Good.
fail. I'll
Good.
just
So
make
then you're
hands.
already on a good path there. You're already on a good
Well,
path.
I've never done any research about what 10,000 steps does, but I know that walking is literally the best exercise that you can do. It's free. You can do
Yes.
it
Yes.
anywhere. And I saw
Yes.
Yes,
Let
you
it
the
do an
world be
is.
your
Instagram
treadmill.
video. Yeah, I saw your Instagram video. I'm like, yes, I'm hitting that. Cool.
I know. I think there was one of the lines that I said was let the outdoors be your treadmill. When I said that, Dylan was like, "Ooh,
Yes,
I like
yes,
that."
yes. That's so good.
That's
Okay, so
awesome.
then
Yeah.
segue
Yes.
into my question, which is a great follow-up, is how do you adjust the workouts for people who come in with chronic conditions, or any ailments, any injuries? I'm going to leave out the mental health part because I want to ask more about that in our next podcast. But for those
Sure.
two things, like, what do you do and how do you adjust? Like, where would you start with that?
Okay. So first and foremost, I have to place the disclaimer. I am not a doctor.
Thank you.
So, yes.
Thank
Um,
you.
the research shows though that exercise is helpful in managing mental health issues such as, and I know that you had said, we can dive into it in another podcast, but this is important, I feel like. Managing mental health issues such as stress, anxiety, and
Mhm.
depression. And I'm not claiming that this is the magic solution to ending all of this, all of the things that are going on, but the research shows that it increases brain chemistry.
Yes.
Physical activity increases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin. So the
Yeah.
neurotransmitters that improve mood and reduce feelings of stress can also help reduce stress hormones, and it lowers your cortisol and your adrenaline, which then shifts your body out of fight or flight mode.
Correct.
So it also improves your sleep, and regular activity helps regulate sleep cycles, which is that often gets disrupted with anxiety and depression.
Yep.
So when it comes to injuries and chronic illnesses, it all depends on what's going on. So as long as a doctor has cleared the client for exercise, the individual is most likely good to get started. So I always look at it as we might have a slight limitation, but it doesn't mean we can't figure out how to work around it or even with it. So like most recently, I had a friend who broke his leg and he continued going into the gym and worked around the injury because he knew that if he sat around and waited for the injury to heal and the cast to come off, he was going to be miserable. The
Yeah.
doctor even told him, "Hey, you probably healed faster than most because you're in such great physical health." So it's really about understanding the injury or the illness and working with it. I don't like to treat anything like it's a handicap because I believe in solutions. So like even Marve can tell you she was having shoulder issues and we figured out what was going on and then we figured out how to work with it and around it. So it's really about, making sure that you have a team to help you. So go to the doctor, get cleared, do what you have to do, and then communicate with me what's going on, and then we can work with it. And we can, if we can figure out how to strengthen it, or we can figure out how to work around it if we temporarily need to give it a rest.
Okay.
But it
that
doesn't mean
was
that you
and
can't. Yeah. Mhm.
you literally just answered the second question, which was how do you work
Yeah.
with the physical limitations, right? And
Yeah. Mhm.
anything that is pain or fatigue. And I like what you said because I think that's really something that people tend to forget in its simplicity is that just because you're missing a limb or you broke something or something very physically traumatically happened to you, it doesn't mean that you can't adjust. And I think that's where
Yeah.
mentally people dive deep down into the stressors of their mind, not realizing, no,
Mhm.
I need, and if someone is there to help them and coach them, like you're saying, like that is just, it's healing. Like it's really, really
Yes.
healing. So I like that you said that because
Yeah.
that's really important is that motivation and that mindset that no, I'm not limited. This is not a
Mhm.
limitation, right? This is
It's
just
not.
another way.
Have you ever seen the videos on like social media or on YouTube of these soldiers that have gone into combat and they've lost limbs and the way that they get after it in the gym? I mean, they could be missing a leg and an arm.
Yeah.
or like, other people who are born, like a limb missing, and
Mhm.
they work through it. They figure it
Yep.
out, you know? It's not it's not a reason to say, "Well, I can't do that." It's a reason to be like, "But what if I try and I could and I
Yep.
did and I find out
Yeah.
something," you know? So, it's about that mindset, right? We can't just sit like and wallow in it. We have to say, "Well, this is our reality, so how do we work with it?"
I really, really like
And
that.
drum roll, my right
Yes.
shoulder is cool.
I love that.
And yeah,
Yes.
it was the suggestions that she had given. And I was just like, I was just, I could not move my arm. And we
Yeah.
figured it out. And I went and did
Mhm.
what she, suggested. And hello, I am okay.
There you go.
That
Now
is
you can
so
like
great, Mom.
function. Yeah. Like something that
Yeah.
simple can really take a toll on you. And I saw what it was doing to you mentally. But I'm so happy and so proud of you for saying, like, okay, no, hold on. Like, let's figure this out. Let's keep moving forward. Which, some people
Yeah.
don't necessarily look at it that way. They're like, oh, it's just one more thing that's happening in my life of chaos right now, because I really don't, in this current moment of my life, I don't think I know anybody who has like a really like just very calm and easygoing kind of life. Everybody has some
Yeah.
kind of chaos,
Mhm. Yeah,
like
exactly.
I might look at somebody else's life and be like, oh, that seems so easy. And by comparison of my life, but for them, it's their chaos. So that's valid,
Yep.
So everybody is living in their own world of chaos. And it's again, mindset. How do we push forward? How do we keep going through?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at injuries. I actually, in the past, when I injured myself, would get kind of excited because I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna give me experience for my clients that come to me with
Yeah.
an injury." So
That's a
yeah, I
really good
like
way of looking at it.
I like
It
weirdly would get
is.
excited about it. I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to learn so much more right now."
It's like that mad scientist approach. That's
Yes,
really cool.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
It,
we have gotten through the content heavy questions. So there's some fun questions coming at you. So,
okay,
Okay.
cool.
what's the weirdest thing you've seen somebody do in the gym? And I've seen some good ones, but as a trainer, you always have the lens, right? You're looking at the
Yes.
body and you're looking at the muscles. So I'm just curious. It's a fun question.
I mean, so I really had to sit and think on this. So I tend to get tunnel vision when I'm in the gym, because for me it's like it's my time to turn off my brain and focus on what I'm doing. So I tend to get tunnel vision, and then when I'm with my clients, I'm so like honed in on my clients that I'm not really paying attention to like what's going on. And it has to be something like really hard to miss
Yes.
to notice it for me. But one thing that I do remember that I thought, and it's actually on my Instagram, if you deep dive back into my Instagram from like, I think 2018, I
Okay.
went to Colombia to go visit my sister when she was living there for like a month. So I signed up for a gym membership while I was there because I was like, wow, we were on vacation, but we got to keep it going. So
Yes.
I went into the gym, and the gym culture over there is very different than the gym culture here. And I remember I was doing my workout, and I was recording, I think it was my squats or my deadlifts. And in the background, there was a trainer with a client. He had her standing on those balance discs, like
Mhm.
it's like a disc that like they're, the little ball, like half ball. And then he had a soft, like cushy therapy ball in between her knees. And then he had her holding a 25-pound plate over her head and doing a squat. And she was
Oh,
wildly uncomfortable and definitely not skilled enough for the task. And I just remember thinking to myself, what is this man doing? The fact that this woman hasn't fallen and hurt herself is
Yes.
crazy. And I was just like mind blown, but I didn't even notice it until afterwards when I went back to look at the video and I saw it in the background of my video. So I think that's one of the wildest things that sticks out to me is what I have seen people doing.
It's like one of these things, right? Like
Yeah.
balancing on one leg.
Yes. It was
Oh my
insane. And she
God.
was so uncomfortable, but he didn't care because he was feeding his ego with, well, what I'm making my client do. Can you make your client do this? If you come train
That
with
poor
me,
client.
you'll be doing wild, crazy things too to my goals. And I don't feel comfortable, and again, it's because people just don't know. They just don't.
I'm glad
But
that we
yeah.
laugh and then we get serious because it is so
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
we shouldn't be doing cuckoo things in the gym unless we have some education behind it or we're working with somebody who knows what they're doing. But I have seen
Yes.
some wacky
Exactly.
things in the gym. And,
Oh, yeah.
and of course, social media is just like all over it, like just totally.
Oh, yeah.
And genuinely, it does make me chuckle. I mean, you can't not laugh at these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had people come and correct me in the gym thinking that I'm doing something cuckoo, which is even more
Yeah.
hilarious. But again, this little old man was so cute. He was just like, he thought I was doing this thing wrong. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I've
just
had
gonna-
that. It's like yeah, I heard a little old man do the same thing to me. And I was like, oh, I
Okay.
said, that's fine. Thank you. I
you.
appreciate you. And I just kept going on my way. But I also think about when you do see people doing like wild, crazy things at the gym, um, as long as it's not too crazy to the point where you're like, oh crap, this person's about to hurt themselves severely.
Yes.
Everybody's just in there doing the same thing, trying to be a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so
True.
that's more than anything what I root on, because I have had clients over the years tell me when I was in a bigger gym setting before getting into the studio, like, Esther, do you not see this person doing this? You need to go say something. And I'm like, first of all, I can't save everybody. But
Exactly.
second of all, I'm so proud of that person for being in here and
Yes.
for trying.
Yep.
And,
Yes.
again, it depends. If what they're doing is wildly outlandish, then obviously, yes, like say something because you don't want to see somebody get hurt either. But at the end of the day, everybody's just in there trying to be a better version of themselves,
There you
working
go.
through some stress, some anxiety, some depression. You don't know what their day looked like. So, sometimes I do. Who doesn't get a chuckle out of those funny videos that you see online? But then at the same time, I ask myself, I'm like, I wonder what that person went through today.
Mhm.
Like, they're really letting it out right now. Yeah.
That is genuinely so sweet. Like it's just that's such a good way of looking at it. Like
It really
Yeah.
is.
okay. So then my next question is what amps you up? What music amps you up in the gym? Like tell us some songs that are like your go-to. For me, it's really silly, but I am an 80s, 90s baby, but I love Eye of the Tiger. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
that
yeah.
That's an
song
anthem
just
song
like
for
amps
sure.
me up. So
Yeah.
I'm sure viewers want to
That's,
know.
yeah, no, that's great. For me, it's all just what mood I'm in. So sometimes, okay, when I was actually prepping for my last powerlifting meet, I listened to classical music. There was
Really?
something,
Never gets
yes.
that.
So somebody gave me the suggestion. Classical music had a really nice way of calming my brain and helping me focus in and dial on the lift itself. And you can find some really interesting classical music mixes on Spotify right now, like some that are like a spin off of rap music. And so it's not like,
Ooh.
dry and stuffy classical music that you're thinking about. Like, it's pretty cool. Like, you start listening to it and it's done beautifully with the instruments. And then you're like, wait a minute, I know this song. This is Cisco's song. And so, like, it's done in a classical music way and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. But then there's no lyrics to sing along. I don't know. It helped me focus in that moment. But currently, like right now, for me, Bad Bunny's newest album is
he's
just
fire.
it for me.
He's
It's just
fire.
it for
Yeah.
me. It's so like beautiful, culturally rooted, and well thought out. And he executed it with such extreme conviction. So I am Puerto Rican. And so for me, the
Okay.
depth of what he did with that album was amazing. So it evokes a lot of emotions for me because I feel it. I can feel exactly what his intentions were with the song.
Yeah.
And like with all the songs that he did with the rhythms, with the mixes, with the conversation about what's going on the island. And so like for me, that will always get me going. I'm like, yes. So, but
Okay.
I'm usually like rap, hip hop, and
Yeah.
or a mix of like Latin music, salsa sometimes. Like I like a little salsa
Yes.
for accessory work.
Go,
Yeah. So
girl.
it just all depends on the mood that I'm in. But those are usually my go-to ROMs.
Okay, awesome. See, now I want to listen to
Yeah.
Bad Bunny's new album. I haven't listened to it yet, so now
Yes.
I'm excited.
Oh
Okay, cool.
man. Yeah. Oh, he just did
Yay.
a whole residency in Puerto Rico that was
Yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I saw on social media like his last concert or something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, next question, which is again an interesting one. I never thought to ask this question, but what's the most unusual item you've used in the gym to work out?
So I thought this was a really funny question. I sat there and I really thought about it for a long time. And I said, what is an unusual thing? But for me, honestly, when I was first being introduced into strength training and like the machines and stuff like that, all of it seemed really weird to me. And it was because it was brand new. But other than that, I feel like every piece of equipment is useful in its own right, with the exception at some gyms that you go to, but you have to go to a non-commercial gym. There is this leg press and it pops up on social media sometimes, and you have to climb what looks like a lifeguard tower to get to it to do a simple leg press. That is
Oh,
probably
wow.
the craziest looking piece of equipment that that I can think of off the top of my head right now that drives me like that I think is kind of weird. And I've asked multiple of my gym friends about. I'm like, I mean, do you really feel like this leg press is like unique and special to a different degree from like the other leg presses that are on the ground that you just get in and get out of? And they're like, no, not at all.
Weird.
Yeah. But
That
I
I
can't
is
think
even
that,
really
visualize
weird.
that right now.
oh, I'll have to send you guys a picture of it, but it's a really wild looking leg press. It like think of a lifeguard tower at a beach and you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to, and it's like that. And then there's a leg press at the top of it. I don't,
Oh my
I couldn't,
gosh.
yeah,
That kind
I
of
would say that
scares
that's,
me. That low key
yeah.
scares
It's interesting, but again, it's like, some people they're like, "Well, I saw this on Instagram, so it's like really cool." I'm like,
Oh my
"Okay, but
God.
how is this more effective than a standard leg press on the ground that you don't have to waste all
Yeah,
that time like getting in and out of?"
Oh my God. My brain
So,
goes to like so many different avenues with that.
it does,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it really
Like,
yeah,
does.
that's
Like
and
I can't.
insane.
and
No.
I will say I have not used it because I'm like a standard leg press has always gotten the job done. And
Yeah.
Like, is the
so I really
oxygen
don't.
better, higher? And
Yeah.
what? It doesn't make any
Yes, you
sense
will
to
see.
me.
It's not a standard piece of equipment that you'll see in a standard like commercial gym. It's definitely something that you'll see in a more like, um more of a mom and pop style facility.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to see that. I can't
I'll send you
unsee it in
a
my
picture
brain,
of
so now I
it.
have to see it.
I'll
Okay.
send you a picture of it.
Wait.
Like,
Yeah.
that's really
Okay.
weird.
We are at the last question, which is
Yep.
what's your fitness pet peeve?
Um Ego lifters with bad form.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that person that's like, "Oh, I know this is ugly, but I still did it." I'm like, "Yeah, how long is it gonna take your back to recover from that terrible form on that obnoxiously overweight deadlift that you just did that your body couldn't even handle?"
You know
I
what?
I
And I
would
have to
say
say,
that's it.
yeah, I'm not even a fitness trainer, but it really genuinely does bug me. And it's because I think that way, like, you're gonna get hurt or you're gonna feel
Yeah.
it later. And that's why I
Yeah.
Yes.
say with the kettlebell thing, that's my thing. I always thought like if you don't have good form with this thing, you know how many
Yeah.
ligaments are in your body?
Mm-hmm.
You are gonna tear it up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Natalie, when you come out in March, we are going to
Yeah.
go see
Come to the
Esther's
studio. Come get a workout with me.
studio, and you are going to embark on properly using
Yes.
the cowbell, the
The
barbell.
kettlebell.
No, the
Yeah.
the kettlebell, the
Kettlebell.
It's
barbell,
because
the
I was drinking out of
cowbell.
my
Right.
cow coffee mug.
What? That is hilarious because your
Oh,
cow cup.
it's
Oh
Yes.
my
yeah,
God.
the cowbell.
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for going through
Yeah.
those a
Yes.
million questions. Is there anything else that you want to share with our viewers that you think is relevant or fun or just PSA?
Yeah, actually, Marve had one more question for me that she didn't get to ask, and I thought it was a good one, which was, what's your approach when someone feels unmotivated? And I feel
Mm,
like this is a good like question to answer because motivation is so overrated.
Yeah.
Um, Nobody's motivated 100% of the time. It just doesn't happen. We're literally just trying to do our best every single day. And I think that people need to learn to give themselves grace and meet themselves where they're at, but still understand how to push themselves, not just say, I'm going to work off of my emotions today. Because if you work off of your emotions, you probably aren't going to get too far. So, um,
Yeah.
so for me, it's about trying to teach people habits that they can do paired with everyday things that they're already doing. So the habits is what keeps you going, not the motivation. So if I know I'm gonna have like a crazy day filled with clientele and back-to-back sessions and my workout is on the chopping block, I guarantee you that I will find a way to prioritize some jump rope, squats, and push-ups. And it might only take me 15 to 20 minutes to complete, but if I push through it with intensity, with a decent amount of intensity, it's the habit that keeps me going at the end of the day, and it's still helping
Yeah.
me move the needle in the right direction. So instead of going home and like saying, you know what, today was a heinous day and I deserve some potato time. Sure, of course I deserve some like downtime, but I also deserve to invest towards my health for my future. And I know that's something that I'll never regret. And one of my favorite things to say to people that one of my friends said to me was, if you're just 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, you'll be 365% better.
that is
Like,
That's
fire.
crazy.
I love
Yes.
that.
yeah, he said that to me years ago and it has
Oh
stuck
my
with me. I'm like,
gosh. Yes.
we can be 1% better every day. That's hard. Make
That's
one
really
better
awesome.
food choice today. And then tomorrow, make two better food choices. And then walk 3,000 steps today, walk 3,500 steps tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like just think about it in smaller terms, break it into small pieces. And it makes it less anxiety inducing and a lot easier to accomplish.
That is really cool. I have to
Very
say
cool.
thank you because
Of course.
this,
I
I
have to
Thank
could
say
you.
thank you.
literally stay on the podcast for hours asking you
Yeah.
questions, but
Yes.
we know that you
Oh,
have
this
to
has been
get to
fun.
your day. Yeah,
Yeah,
this has
thank
been
you so
really fun,
much.
Esther. Honestly, like
Yeah.
it's just a different perspective on fitness altogether, which is genuinely
It is.
really, really awesome. So
Cool.
where can viewers find you? And we will add it under in the show notes when we post the
Sure.
video. But tell us really quickly, like, where can we find you? What are your
So
handles?
I am on Instagram, and so my main coaching page on Instagram is the Black Widow
Okay.
05. So that's a super easy way to get to me. And I check that handle most regularly. So really if people want to reach out to me that way, I would say that the surefire way.
Perfect. Okay. And
Yeah.
then Ma, did you have anything else you wanted to add in before we
Well, I
say
wanted
goodbye
just
to
to make sure
Esther?
that we will be in touch with figuring out the date for episode 2. So
Yes.
Esther will be back.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that. So just PSA
Thank
for
you.
viewers, we're going to dive into fitness and mental health. So
Yes.
if you're struggling with any type of mental health stressors or eating disorders, this is a big hot topic that
Yes.
a lot of, I'm sure, people are kind of afraid to ask about. So this is a good one
Yeah.
because I personally have dealt with body dysmorphia, and I have been diagnosed with an eating disorder, and I still have layers of that now. And so I would just love to have you talk more in depth about
Sure.
all those things and just how it
Yeah.
plays out in
Absolutely.
life, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. From my perspective as a trainer over the years, I mean, I've talked to a lot of people with the same in the same boat. And I definitely think that it's something that should be talked about more openly so that people don't have so much shame around it, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are dealing with it and a lot more than others might realize, and so it's very isolating when you feel alone and like you're suffering alone. But I think if people just talk about it more, that it can help. It can help for sure.
Amazing. Okay. We are
Very cool.
certainly looking forward to that one.
Yeah, me
Yes,
too.
Good.
absolutely.
Awesome. You guys are
Wow.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, this
We're
has been
trying to
fun.
push forward.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has.
It's a great
It's been
platform.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
thank you for being on with us. This has been a really fun hour and a half. I think we went an hour and a half and we probably could go longer. But we want you to get
Yeah,
to your day and enjoying yourself on this Sunday. So thank
Thank
you. You
you.
will be back. Viewers, thank you
Yes.
for listening. And please stay
absolutely.
tuned for the next show with Esther.
Yes.